Believe me, people are still buzzing about this event. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 314. This is the one about Overheard at Titans of JKD 3. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you are catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff over there. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcasts. Okay, so at last weekend's Titans of JKD, there was so much said. It's hard to whittle all that stuff down to just a few minutes of an I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. But where would you be without your weekly dose of JKD talk radio, right? And the reason why I say it's so much to whittle down, I swear to you, the talking, the rapport, the repartee, what have you, started. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of when Cass and Eleanor met Chris in the lobby at the hotel. The talking started then, and it did not stop until Sunday night. I wasn't even there for the end of the talk because those two guys can outlast me. I had to get to bed, and so I left everybody downstairs in the lobby on Sunday night. Took Cass and Elle back to the airport early Monday morning, took Chris later in the afternoon. But that's it. So really hard to put all of that, condense all that into like a 10-minute broadcast with you, but I'll try a little. So if you saw this, actually, let me change it around a little bit, right? So that you can see the guy on the camera in the background, that's me, right? So that was one of my major responsibilities over the weekend. So I was not there to write stuff down and make notes and what have you. So I've actually put in a request from the Titans attendees to send me more of their what my old business mentor Bill Glazer called a writer downer. And I'm gonna collect and collate those, and I'll put those into a later post or so. Right. So, but what I wanted to share with you today is this, and this came from Sifu Chris, and it was the 4 most dreaded words in Jeet Kune. Maybe, sometimes, and it depends. Right. So why dreaded? Well, because depending on circumstance, this can mean that there's no one answer, there's no one way, there's no specific approach, so to speak. Now, in a related context, maybe, sometimes, it depends, also means that you got to work it out for yourself. You got to do the work to make it work for you. You got to do the work to have it make sense to you. So in other words, and this was something else that was touched upon throughout the weekend, JKD is experiential, not merely theoretical. You've got to be in it, right? If you're going to get anything out of it. So where does that take us, or where does that even leave us, right? Well, with the fact that everyone's experience of a thing can be different, right? So if a karate guy, a judo guy, a Muay Thai guy, a Savat guy, if they all watch my good friend G. Anthony Joseph from TCF, right, whose system is not as well known to the general public, if they watch him doing stuff, their experience of what he's doing will be different. And so their interpretation of it, or perhaps even their description of it, would all be different. So it's kind of like that famous story about the blind men, the 4 blind men or whoever that touch the elephant, but they touch the elephant in different parts. And so everybody's description of what it is that they're touching is completely different. It's like that in JKD because it is experiential and not merely theoretical. The other, it wasn't really a quote as such. It was really just something that was that, as very often happens with Cas Magda, it's just like a, what do you call it? Not state of mind, but one of those extemporaneous utter. And so what Cas said is that Dan Inosanto started giving credit to everything and everyone that he studied with. And that was remarkable because I'll confess, as I watched what Cas was, the drill that he was doing, which I'll try to describe it for you. So it's pretty much a parry of the punch, followed by a grasping of the neck, followed by the delivery of a few knee strikes, and then following up with different finishes, right? If I remember correctly, one finish was move the head and hit the knockout punch. One finish might have been a takedown. One finish might have been a leg sweep or something, right? Again, I was on the camera, right? So, but that's what he said. Now here's what I'm saying. Here's what my confession is. As I'm watching him do this, I'm expecting him to use the term tie up because that is a term that we use in Muay Thai. I'm also expecting him to utter the words Muay Thai, and he never did. And that's when I had the realization. It's almost as if he was reading my mind, because then he said that what would happen with Inosanto, and this is my interpretation of it. Inosanto, out of his fierce loyalty to his sources of knowledge and information, on seminar, he started identifying where stuff came from. I recognize what Cas was doing as coming from Muay Thai. I'm not saying that there were Muay Thai techniques, but again, going back to that experiential thing, I'm looking at it and I'm going, yeah, that's a tie up. That's those knees or whatever. And that's when it hit me. The fact that Cas did not label them makes them Jeet Kune techniques. And I made a joke later on that if any of the famous or infamous or notorious JKD purists that occupy the pages of I Love Jeet Kune, JKD Talk and Facebook and what have you, if any of those purists had been in attendance, they would not have had a problem with what Magda did because there was no label attached to it. And magically, if there's no label attached to it, if there's no other art name involved, it becomes Jeet Kune. Isn't that fascinating? It's really, really cool. So I think from now on, I shall do the same thing, right? And that way I'll be able to keep myself out of trouble. Anyhow, but that really was a kind of an epiphanet for me, right? Before the seminar, I'd had conversations with both Chris and Cas about, actually they kind of asked me what my hopes for the seminar would be. And as juvenile as this might sound, I didn't really have any hopes or like requirements for what would be a successful seminar, because this was a realization of a dream, something that I've wanted to do for decades. And so finally being able to have the two of them in Miami teaching a seminar, for me, nothing could go wrong as far as I was concerned, right? And so I was going to be happy with anything that they taught. And I was not at all disappointed. In fact, I think that we just might have created a new standard for the future of JKD seminars around the world, right? So in the days ahead, I will be I'll be posting more stuff and what have you. There's a funny thing about day 2. When you see the post, maybe you'll get it, right? And in fact, I just realized that on Friday I'll take a break from Jeet Kune dialoguing with UK colleagues. Terry Barnett will be on next Friday, and so this Friday instead, But Chris Kent is originally from the UK, so I'm still pretty much within the UK mode, right? So Chris is going to come on at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll do a dialogue, pretty much a review of Titans. If you think you might have any questions for him about seminars, about this seminar in particular, or just questions for Chris Kent relating to JKD, go ahead and email them to me, jkdrebel.com. All right. Or when I put up the postcard, maybe later today or tomorrow, you can put them into the comments there. Right. So that's dialogues with Chris Kent at 6 p.m. Right. So yeah, there's a lot more material to put out regarding the seminar, so you guys can get a good idea of just what the event was like. So let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. That's all I got to say in this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. At paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami, paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami. The Jeet Kune Journey Volume 1 is available. You can also support the show at jkdrebel.com. Click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you'll see stuff like this. The UMAA official Kali JKD t-shirt. We also have t-shirts like this, the Jeet Kune notables, and we also have kitchen implements like coffee mugs and all that stuff. But of course, as I said earlier, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. Okay, so today is a blue day, and that's the Chicago Summit shirt. This actually got me in trouble a little bit earlier. Right, so thanks everybody for hanging out with me for these past 12 minutes, and I will see you on Friday at 6 p.m. Dialogues with Chris Kent, and we'll see you then. All right, you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. This is Dwight Woods, JKD Rebel, signing off. Talk soon.